Greetings, friends, and welcome to Captain Samuel's In All the World. There is nothing more precious than a cat. And now, my cat and I are going to fly through space together. Whoa! We're having a mystical experience! Wow, man! Far out! Quest of the Three Worlds was first published as several short stories in the early 1960s and combined into a novel in 1966. It's science fiction written by Cordwainer Smith, whose real name was Paul Weinbarger. Now, the author worked for the Army as a psychological operations officer, and the book is full of obscure references and hidden messages. For example, the first letter of subsequent sentences in one part spells out Kennedy shot and Oswald shot too. So this is about Casher O'Neill, who is the nephew of a deposed dictator on the planet Mizar, which is basically a planet based on Egypt. And Casher travels to other planets to gain weapons and powers to overthrow the new dictator of Mizar. The first planet he visits is made of gemstones, and there he helps rescue a horse in exchange for a green laser crystal. The second planet is covered in perpetual tornadoes, except for one area surrounding a little girl's house, and Casher, being a good dude, agrees to murder the little girl in exchange for a space warship. But the little girl overcomes him with psychic love powers, and then gives him a series of challenges to overcome, and when he does, she gives him psychic powers too. Then for the third planet, he goes back to Mizar and uses his psychic powers to make the current dictator a better person. Then he wanders around, saying hi to his estranged son and mother, then he gets a girlfriend. He discovers the fourth planet while psychically diving through space with his girlfriend, and they realize this planet could be a threat. So they notify the universal government called the Instrumentality, and they send out a fleet of 3 cyborgs to investigate the planet. When they arrive, they discover it is a planet of chicken people, and then they kill all the bad chicken people, and then set up a utopian planet of peace and groovy feelings where humans and chicken people can coexist. Got all that? So, what did I like or not like about this book? Well, I didn't really understand this book, to be honest. And maybe that's a me problem, but I don't think so. Gene Wolfe has a similarly cryptic style, but the thing about his writing is the secrets to his stories are all right there in the text, and a careful reading and rereading of his work will reveal the mysteries. All the cryptic stuff in this book felt like it was obscure references to real-world events, places, and people, and coded and disguised for Cordwainer Smith to know, but not for the reader. And additionally, I think this book is later in the Instrumentality of Mankind universe, and it references a lot of concepts, characters, and events from his earlier short stories that meant nothing to me. Reading this book felt like showing up to the final lecture on cryptology when I hadn't attended any earlier lectures or read the textbook. And it also felt like a lot of the stories were nothing burgers too. In the first story, he rescues a horse. That's it, he rescues a horse. Then when he goes back to his home planet of Mizar, he just kind of wanders around, and when the cyborg crew finish their flight to the mysterious planet, Cordwainer doesn't actually bother to write about what happens. So they're flying through space, Oh, what's going to be on this planet? I don't know. What's going to be? Is it going to be dangerous, deadly aliens? Are they going to have to wipe out the sun with their weapons? And Cordwainer writes, "Let us not tell that story. It can be told some other time." Oh, what are we doing? Then what am I reading this book for? The book also had a ton of cringe. So there's that little girl whose personality is that of a rich guy's wife. Basically, the rich guy, he's in cryostasis, and when his wife died, he took her personality of his wife and put it into this little girl. And then the little girl also has turtle genes mixed in, so she's going to live for thousands of years. So when Cordwainer meets this little girl with all these powers, she's 1,000 years old, but she looks like a little girl. And Cordwainer goes out of his way to talk about her budding little girl breasts, writing, "Casher felt a wild surge of erotic attraction for the innocently voluptuous child. And in the current events of what's going on in the world today, that passage aged about as well as a wet fart in a crowded elevator. And that whole section is just full of this sexual tension between Cordwainer and this little girl. And also, this same little girl, her job is to check on the unconscious rich guy who's in cryostasis from time to time. And they describe the shit I read sometimes. They describe her checking this rich guy's rectum for feces and then giving him a hand job. What are we doing, Cordwainer Smith? What am I reading here? People give Samuel Delaney all this shit for some of the stuff he writes. What's up, Cordwainer? I mean, this is some weird stuff. So, you know, despite all these problems, I did appreciate some things about this book. I thought that the stories were imaginative and full of outside-the-box scenarios. And while I'm not really sure, I think Cordwainer's message was that fulfillment and loving one another is more powerful than weapons and conquest. Maybe that might be just me projecting, because that's something I tend to write a lot in my stories, but I think that was it. I don't know. So, even though I've been hard on this book, I still give it 3 out of 5 stars, a passing grade, and I would try Cordwainer Smith again, but I just need to do some internet research to figure out where I'm supposed to start with all of his work, so that the next thing I read by him, I'm not lost and missing all of this back context that it's just assumed that I know. To be honest with you, though, I don't think I'm going to bother with that anytime soon. Maybe one of these days I'll get around to it, but meh, sneh on Cordwainer Smith. Anyways, hope you're doing well. Thanks for watching.